Couple of years down the road, your career has taken a not unwelcome turn, but a very unexpected one.
Any turn would be unexpected at this point. Instead of a slow descent.
You're you're moving a lot of merch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were kind of inspired.
What do you mean? What does that even mean?
So, you were you've recently gotten involved with this basically it's like a comedy wrestling league.
Comedy wrestling league?
Yeah, so what it is it's pro wrestling mixed with stand-up comedy. So you go out there, you tell some jokes, maybe you take some bumps afterward if you want.
I'm taking bumps. I don't want to do I don't want
You
to
don't
do
have
that.
to. You don't have to.
I won't.
And so you kind of have like fallen in with those dudes. And their big thing is like, look, we don't make a lot of we make, money off the door, obviously, but like a substantial amount of our like personal income is from like merch, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Like you were performing with them one time, you were doing you did your act, you told some jokes, and then you ended your set, uh but like you kind of just kept talking. Like you saw this like hot girl in the crowd, and you look over and you go, "Hey, is that your boyfriend?" And she's like, "Yeah." And you're like, I bet I could kick his ass. And the whole crowd's like, oh. And because you're doing this, even though the crowd is going crazy, you just don't notice that you're being snuck up upon by the dirty man.
Oh, the dirty man.
The dirty man is like, he's like a pro wrestler type guy. His
Yeah.
deal is that he's just like covered in trash and stuff. He's just like a dirty dude. And so he's like, you're like turning heel after your performance, and then this guy comes and just like takes you to fucking Suplex City. Whole crowd goes crazy.
I don't want to do that. I'm fine telling jokes, but I don't want to be suplexed. I have no desire to be a professional wrestler. I served my time.
But you knew it was going to happen. You talked to them and stuff ahead of time. It was all a work that you guys were doing.
That
But
doesn't mean I
um,
want to do it.
but the thing about the dirty man is that he works very like safely. He knows how to like throw you around and have you really not get hurt at all. Basically. So he's
There's
just like,
zero chance I walk out of this thing without landing in a way or hitting my head. Like, I don't want this. I don't care how good the dirty man is. It doesn't make up for my unwillingness and inexperience.
yeah. Um, but he is a really good wrestler.
I don't
And
care.
so he does like the suplex to you, and you're like, oh, and like
Eh,
you fucking sell it, dude. You know what I mean?
of course I'm gonna sell it. I'm a showman.
Afterward, there's a local blog where basically it's like a fanzine. It covers local wrestling, and it covers this because you get taken to the hospital. Um, Not really. That's like the storyline.
Sure, sure.
So like they put you on a stretcher and they put you in an ambulance, and it looked really real. And it's because they actually used a real, people who work as like emergency technicians or whatever, like actual ambulance drivers, and you like get them to like on their break come in and actually take you to the hospital to main
Why do I
to
have a relationship with an ambulance driver that's good enough to the point that they'll give us like free use of their They're fucking ambulance. Aren't they on calls? Aren't they saving lives?
So when you just knew you just went to like a one time you were like thinking like, oh yeah, this would be a really cool thing to do at comedy wrestling. And you're like, but how do I get this to look real? And you're like, all right, well, huh. And you kind of just put out the word, hey, does anybody know any like ambulance drivers? And through like friends of friends of friends, you finally like track down this one guy, um, this one dude. His name is Bunsen.
Yeah. Does he have
Bunsen Bunsen J. Brown. And you pitch it to him like, hey, like you basically pitch the whole storyline to him, and he's like his the person his like partner or whatever is there with him, and she's like the ambulance partner or whatever, and she's like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to put my job on the line for something like this. Absolutely not.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Good for
Bunsen,
her.
like, but Bunsen just kind of like he's been looking at like the ground the whole time. And when he looks up, his eyes are just like shining because his cheeks are wet with tears.
Why is he crying?
He goes on
That's a
to, and
horrible
like,
idea.
and his partner, her name is Cassandra. She looks over and she's like, what the hell? Like, she's like, I have worked with you for years. I've never seen you cry. And we've seen some gnarly stuff. What's going on? And he goes on to explain to you guys that growing up, he didn't have like any money. You know, he was one of 15 children. And growing up was, you know, kind of rough, you know? But the one thing that kind of kept him going was watching pro wrestling. You know, he looked at these people as like, you know, pillars of calming strength in a life of young turmoil. And it really got him through a lot of really tough times. And he looks up after tells us that story and he's like, I'd be honored.
All right.
So you do
They'll
get
move.
taken. So he comes in and you guys do get taken to like you guys pretend to take him to the hospital, take you to the hospital and stuff. And the guy who is running a blog about this, the headline that he writes is overweight comedian taken to hospital.
Oh, come on. Why? Why?
It's just how we wrote it. I don't know. And so that was kind of embarrassing to you a little bit. Also, the guy got busted. He got caught doing this and he got fired. So you did this thing where you started selling T-shirts that just said overweight comedian,
Great.
red on black. And your merch is like fucking moving, dude. Like people are into it. Like you wear it, like you
They're
wear it
into
on,
this.
they're into this. They wear it, you wear it on stage.
Oh, come on. I'm not wearing my own merch on stage.
Well, so you do this thing at the end of your
No,
set
no.
where you go, hey guys, hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves tonight, blah, 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 blah. And then you tell this story, you explain everything, and you go, and I decided like I'm gonna take that back, you know? You can't insult me. And then you take off your shirt and underneath you're wearing a shirt that just says overweight comedian.
That sucks.
No, it does not.
No, that fucking sucks. That sucks.
People go crazy, dude. And you sell so many of these. And so you sell, you're selling, you're moving that merch. Even if you're only doing like a 10-minute set, you will bring merch and you will do like a
No,
whole spiel,
no, I'm
and
not
you
doing that.
always,
I'm
but you
not
always
doing
sell
that.
a bunch.
I don't care. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go be a fucking merch comedian on a 10-minute set. I'm not doing that. We've all
Why
known
not?
that guy. We've all known that guy, and he has fucking sucked universally. We've all known the guy who brings shit to a fucking open mic to try to hawk. Like, don't
Well,
they've all that.
you're not
Have
doing
you
it at
ever
open
met a good
mics.
one? Have you ever met a good one, a comedian who was good that was like, oh, I'm gonna go try to sell my merch during this guest set or
I
whatever?
have. No, I have. I'll tell you, we're not recording, but I have.
A good one?
Hmm? Hint, hint. A good win. It was Danny Go. No, it wasn't actually, but I'll tell you later.
All
Anyway,
right.
so you're like going around
I'm
and
not
you're doing
doing that,
these.
by the way.
You're too. No, you are
I'd like to
because
establish that that is not something that is in my character.
well, look, but here's the deal, man. It's modern day comedy. There's no integrity in any of this. It's all
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
Any kind of like thing where you say to yourself like, yeah, this is show business, but I'm going to do this with integrity. That's all out the window. That hasn't been a thing in years, and this is a few years further. So you're just going, you know what? Fuck it. And all it's not like the comics look at you like, oh, that guy sucks. They'll get it. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, man,
Yeah,
if
but
I
I
had,
don't.
if I had merch as great as this guy, I'd fucking bring it ever. Because even if at these 10-minute sets, you always end up selling like at least three or four overweight comedian shirts, or you also have a coffee mug that says, don't talk to me until I've squirted.
God damn it.
And it is doing gangbusters.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
So,
talk to me until I've squirted. You can buy that mug at the Lanalax Corporation.com.
ironically enough, you don't even really like coffee, but these coffee
Yeah.
mugs, you sell a ton of them.
Just a frustrated woman, barely awake, sipping on
Yeah.
a hot cup.
Having
Her
a
husband
nice,
come,
a nice
her
hot
husband
cup.
comes over and he like goes to say something. She just points at the mug.
Yeah.
He rolls his eyes, ducks
That's kind of
out
like
of frame.
and that's like your pitch on stage. Like you frame it as because this is true. Like you come up with these ideas kind of almost in like a haze. You don't really remember coming up with them. You just remember like finding them later. And so one day you kind of just on a whim just got a bunch of, coffee mugs that say don't talk to me until I've squirted. You just thought it was kind of funny and then you forgot about it. You put the order in and forgot. Then you got them and you were like, oh fuck, right, I forgot about this. And like you opened it up in front of like your new neighbor who's like a mother of, three or whatever, and she's not happy with you. And so you talk about it on stage because it is kind of funny, and you start selling these mugs. Like as basically like, look, they don't even say my name on these. Like it just says, "Don't talk to me until I've squirted." Like I didn't plan this very well at all. There's no website. There's no nothing. And so you just people think it's really funny, and so you start, you're moving quite a bit of merch.
Available for purchase at the Lanalax
And again, it's the other comics who see you doing this, they're actually like, oh, maybe I should start doing something like that. But they don't have anything as good as don't talk to me until I've
Don't
squirted
talk to me until I've squirted.
and
Not and I
overweight.
don't have a joke for it or anything.
Well, no,
I
that's
don't
what I'm
have
saying. You tell the story. You go on stage and you talk about how you ordered these mugs. You don't really know
oh,
why you did it. You just did it because you got them cheap or something. I don't know. And so you
don't
talk
talk to
about
me
it.
until I've squirted.
Yeah. So you have that, then you have overweight comedian on a
My
t-shirt.
overweight comedian t-shirt.
Yeah.
Great. What a fucking joke my life is.
Why? You would wear something like that? I would.
No.
I will. So you're moving some merch. Things are going uh, pretty okay. That night you have a wrestling match slash stand-up set. On this one, you are working as a manager of one of the wrestlers. manager in the sense of like, this guy is like a great athlete, but he's not good at like cutting promos. So you basically kind of act as his mouthpiece to get the crowd riled up, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Luckily, this guy is like a good guy because whenever you play a bad guy, even though like that when they boo you and get mad at you, that's actually like a good thing, you still get like so fucking hurt.
I don't like being booed. I don't like being thought of as the bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. So you're like, you're like every time you do it, it feels like a stalactite in your fucking heart.
Look, this is not worth the mugs that I'm selling. Feeling like this is not worth it. A stalactite in my heart, Pat. You think I want that?
So you're managing um, one of the the wrestlers. She's like she's an established act there. She's been doing it for a while. Her real name is Amy, but her character name is Bjorn Free.
Bjorn free as the wind blows.
Bjorn Free, the character is basically like a Norwegian hick, like a Scandinavian hillbilly. That's like her character or whatever. So you're managing her that evening, and
Jesus Christ.
she's she's
Bjorn free. What an awful idea, Pat. A Scandinavian hillbilly.
like Bjorn
How do
Free
those how do those two combine? How are they represented? How's the hillbilly represented in this scenario?
because it's like born free,
Yeah,
like
I get the pun, but this
which you,
character you said is a Scandinavian hillbilly. I'm just
yeah.
curious how the hillbilly part comes through.
Oh, so the character has a like a Viking hat, and she comes out to that song thank God I'm a country boy, but it's like done in the Scandinavian style, and like a Scandinavian folk style.
This makes no fucking sense, Pat. This
And
this this gimmick is going nowhere.
she's wearing like a hammer of Thor around her neck. Not like a full-size one, but like a pendant, And she goes on stage and she's like, "This is the best country in the world." You know,
So
I
she
love
has like
America. So super patriotic Scandinavian, like hillbilly type. Yeah.
she sounds like a so she's a it sounds like she's more of a hillbilly wearing a Viking helmet as opposed to like a Scandinavian person who this
And so
this
basically,
is
like the
going nowhere,
character
Pat. I hate to
was
break it to
from
you.
the character was from Iceland, and they moved to North Carolina when they were really young. So that's why their name is Bjorn Free. But she was raised as like a typical fucking Southern hick, dumb hick stereotype, basically.
All right. Then why include the Scandinavian thing? That's all. Why throw that wrinkle in there when it
Because
is
they need
totally unnecessary?
Because listen, man, the world of professional wrestling, you have to, there's a lot of competition a few years down the road, and you have to do stuff that's going to make yourself stand out. That's why you guys are doing this whole stand-up comedy thing combined anyway, in the whole first place or in the first place. So you're managing for Bjorn Free, and you she is going up against a wrestler that you've never seen before. You don't know what her real name is, but her character basically is it's like undead Elvira, basically.
Okay.
And her whole thing is that she is you know, she's like a zombie version of Elvira. So that goes all along.
Plunging neckline,
Yeah, there is a plunging neckline. There is a lot
Yabo
of like
City.
Yabo City for sure. And it's like, and like, she's actually, you find out later, she's actually like sponsored by a company that makes tape. That's like how much tape she needs to make sure that everything is, you know?
Oh, held in place.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
that. Yeah, okay. So her
Yeah. It's a
apparel
whole
is
thing.
taped on,
Yeah, the whole
but
thing.
she's a zombie.
She's a zombie.
How does she keep everything?
It's a
Because of the
lot of
tape.
tape, dude. And it's made by the finest, artisanal tape maker in town.
Who's that?
It's this dude. He lives next to a river. His name is George. George. He's known as Big Georgie McDaniels, and his family has been making tape for over 150 years.
Why did you lead with the fact that he lives by a river? How is that at all
Because that's part of his
relevant?
whole it's part of his whole thing. It's like, yeah, I'm a river person. I have
A
been. My whole
river
family's been.
person?
Yeah, the river people of Los Angeles. They're people who they've lived by the river their whole life, and their lives revolve around river life. Around the river rather. So that's how you know that it is going to be good, authentic tape. And he has this company, McDaniel's Tape and Sons. McDaniel's Son. No, McDaniel's Tape and Sons is what it's called.
Yeah.
Uh,
McDaniel's Tape and Sons.
yeah, it was supposed to be McDaniel's and Sons tape, but when he filled it out, he like filled it out and put the form incorrectly. So McDaniel's Sons and
So he makes a
McDaniel's Tape and
humiliating
Sons.
mistake on a government document.
Yeah, humiliating. So McDaniel's Tape and Sons sponsor this woman to make sure that things are, kept kept out of sight and undercover. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
Cover them yabos. So
Yabo City.
yeah, so she's like a zombie.
All right.
And so they have the match and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. You're not really involved. Like once actual wrestling starts, you're not super involved with it. You're just sort of on the side, like you like your character. You have like a cane and stuff that you like
Why do I have a
use.
cane?
You pretend to have a limp when the refs are looking at you, but when they're not, you're using it as like a weapon.
Why am I a scumbag?
Because it's wrestling.
Yeah, but why? God, I hate that.
Why?
I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't like it when people ooh, and like dislike what I'm doing.
Sure. And the match is done, and you walk backstage, and you see the two wrestlers talking, like the two women, and the Elvira character. By that point, she's wearing like regular clothing, and she's like started to wash the makeup off of her face, and she takes the wig off and stuff, and you see that like obviously when she's wearing this costume, it's a a titillating display, but seeing her dressed in normal clothing with her face, looking normal and stuff, and her hair back to normal, you realize that this woman is like captivating.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, holy, you know what I mean? It's a thing that like you didn't really notice when she was wearing you know, the makeup. And you kind of like stop in your tracks. You're like, that's how like struck by this woman you are. She walks away. Excuse me. And you're kind of standing there like, whoa, that was weird. And then from like beside you, you just hear like a pretty girl, huh?
Oh no.
And you're like, what? And you turn
God damn.
and standing like kind of like his arms like crossed kind of in like a cool way, leaning against the wall
Yeah.
is this dude.
Yeah.
He's wearing a like a leather jacket.
Yeah.
It looks rad as fuck, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a t-shirt underneath. It's the color of what color was it? Burgundy, I believe.
Maroon.
Maroon. Sorry. The light shifts and you realize it's actually maroon. He's got a maroon t-shirt on. You see him rocking a pair of tight stonewashed jeans.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you kind of look at him and you're like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, sorry. The name's Mickey. Mickey Less."
Yeah.
He goes, "What's your name?"
I say my name's Aaron. Aaron Brooks.
He goes, "Pleased to meet you, Aaron." And he sticks out his hand. And when you like focus on the hand in front of you, it's almost like the other hand when it's you're not really focusing on it. It like looks huge for like just a second.
Yeah.
Like what you're struck by
Yeah.
his giant hand. Your
Yeah.
eyes
That
like flick
little
to it
large hand.
for a second, and it's like that. It's just kind of normal. So you're like, that's a little well, whatever. Do you shake his hand?
Not the big one.
Just the hand that he has
If it's
like
a
out.
normal hand, yeah, I'd shake his hand. I shake that fucking hand.
Yeah. Uh, you shake his hand, and for a moment, you feel like completely at peace. For a moment, you feel like you finally have a moment of pure rest as you grip this man's hand. You feel like a tiredness that you weren't even aware that you had kind of lift off and away from you, you know? Like physically, you feel this happen. He's like, "Well, it's really nice to meet you." He goes,
Likewise.
he's like, "Thanks, man." And he goes, "Hey, you were great out there."
Thanks. I appreciate that. It's a
He goes,
group effort.
he's like, "Yep, it always is." And he's like, "And that's the thing about life is that sometimes people need a little bit of help, you know?" And he goes, "Anyway,
Sure.
but yeah, how about how about old Bertha there?"
Old Bertha.
Yeah, so the real name of the Elvira zombie character, her name is Bertha Bertha Bojangles.
What an awful fucking name.
He's like, "Yeah, it really is." And he laughs and he's like, he goes, "You know, it's funny. I've known her for a few years at this point, and at this point in her life, she's learned to just embrace it and just kind of laugh about it. But it was
Yeah, you have to.
she goes, he goes, and he looks at you and he goes, but it was kind of strange those first few years for sure."
I bet.
He's holding his hands like behind his back, and you look at him, and even though you can't see them, you know that those hands behind his back are fucking huge,
Jesus Christ, Mickey.
bigger than normal. He goes, "Anyway, yeah, me and Bertha go way back." He's like, "I'll have you know, she's not seeing anybody." And he kind of like
I mean,
laughs and he
we're
goes,
like coworkers, you know?
"Well, you just met her, you know what I mean? Like, you know."
Yeah.
And he kind of laughs and he goes, "Yeah, you know, she's actually she's new in town and she's, you know, looking for someone to kind of, I don't know, spend some time with, kind of get to know." He kind of like grins a cocky grin, and he
What a
goes,
fucking insane thing to tell another person. Hey, this woman that you just met and worked with is new in town and is looking for somebody to spend time with.
"Yeah, well, he's like, well, I know her. I've known her for a long time." Mickey Les winks at you, and again, you feel just a moment of pure calm and rest.
Jesus Christ.
He's like, anyway, I could make the introductions if you'd like.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
okay.
he goes,
I'm
are you
like,
seeing anybody?
that's a weird question to ask a total stranger. I what a weird like he doesn't know me. And like
But he's
she and
like,
I worked together just now.
he
It
goes, yeah,
wouldn't be weird for me to like approach her and say, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm so and so," and strike up a conversation.
yeah. But you get the feeling like if she sees that you've got Mickey Les's cosign, she'll be like, oh, this is someone that must be a cool, you know, safe guy.
How would Mickey Les know that? He only knows me as a heel in the wrestling ring.
He's like, well, Aaron, I can just kind of, I feel like I have a really good read on people. You seem like a decent guy who's trying in a world that confuses us all. He smiles. He winks at you again. You feel just as calm as before.
Jesus Christ.
He goes, anyway, um, oh, you know what? I think I actually see her walking back this way. And at this point, she's she's dressed in normal clothing and stuff, but like she's kind of put her hair up and stuff like that, and so she looks like
Sure.
she's ready to go out for the night. And you're like just as struck as you were before. He goes,
This
you want me
sucks.
to? He goes, you. He looks at you. He goes, you want me to make the introduction?
No, I've already met her. I've already met her. We just worked together. There's no you don't have to tell me and you don't have to tell her anything. Why
Yeah.
is he insisting on interjecting himself in this?
He kind of goes like, okay, okay, hey, don't worry. He goes, don't worry, I won't. And he goes, anyway, I'd love to buy one of those don't talk to me till I've squirted coffee cups.
Sure.
You hand him one,
I
and
would
he
just give it to him.
and before he takes it, he goes, "Oh, look inside." You look inside the coffee mug, and there is like $100 bill stuffed inside there.
I would give it back to him. I'm not taking $100 from this guy for don't talk to me until I squirted mug available with Lanalax Corporation.com.
You look up to tell him that, but he's already walked away with Bertha Bojangles.
I would chase him down and be like, "Hey, like I don't this is excessive. Thank you, but you don't have to pay me $100 for this mug."
And he goes, "Oh, definitely." He goes, "Okay, well, I really appreciate it." He takes the $100 out, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, have you met Bertha?" And she looks
Have I
over at
met her?
you,
We just were in the fucking ring.
and she goes like, and she kind of looks at you, and she goes, "Yeah, you're that guy from earlier, right? Oh, you know
Yeah,
Mickey?"
we were just in the fucking no, I've never met him until literally 3 minutes ago. And for some reason, he thinks that he needs to introduce me to you, even though we've already met and competed in a wrestling match together.
Yeah. You turn around to say that, but like Mickey is just gone. And you look back to her and she just starts laughing and she goes, "This is just like him to do this." And you start laughing too. And before long, you guys have just hit it off.
Oh man.
You guys end up like dating for like a few years. You and Bertha Bojangles.
Oh Jesus.
Eventually, she moves in with you. Uh, you guys,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys end up getting married. You take a what do you call a honeymoon to Hawaii, but you never get there because the plane is blown up by a terrorist.
Are you fucking kidding me? What are you talking about? A terrorist blows up our Hawaii bound plane?
Yeah. You were sitting there and you looked over at her, and she kind of looks at you, and you realize this is the first time you've had some time to actually breathe since you got married. Like it was a crazy wedding. Everyone from years to come will be like, that was bar none the most beautiful wedding I've ever been to in my life. It's a shame what happened afterward. You guys in the plane and you
Jesus
realize
Christ.
it's because you guys like went right to sleep. You know what I mean? You guys haven't had any time to even really talk after you guys, said, I do. So you're sitting there, you look over at her, and you're like, crazy, right? So how you doing, babe? And
Yo,
you you begin your first conversation of what will be and sure to be an endless amount with your lady love. And then this
the
terrorist
first
guy.
conversation
Well, yeah, because your first real conversation since you got married, you know?
was
You just got married a few hours earlier. And so you guys start to talk, and then you don't really notice the terrorist that like stands up and he's like, all right, guys, this will only take a second. He's like, look, the media is going to call me a terrorist, but what I am is a freedom fighter for the. And then you accidentally fart, like pretty bad, and he goes. And he hears it and he goes, what? And he smells it and he goes, oh, and he like falls over and accidentally hits
Are you
like
fucking kidding me?
he has
Are
like a
you
thing in his
kidding
head.
me?
Then he
With
accidentally
the
hits
dead
as he
man
falls
switch?
and the entire plane blows up. No one knows what the cause was. They're like, this is the most mysterious thing that's ever happened
A guy
with
had a
terrorism.
bomb on a plane. What
Yeah,
do
but
they
he was
mean?
like, he goes, look, he goes, they're gonna call me a terrorist, but I'm a freedom fighter for the what? Oh, so no one even knows like why he was even there. He's referred to in the
Fucking
history
sucks.
books. He's referred to in
Whatever.
the history books as the the mystery man of August 9th.
Jesus Christ, that sucks.
I mean, you found love, at least.
Yeah, I guess. Fucking blew up.
You're the victims of the attack of August 9th. They're memorialized by a statue that's carved by Mickey Les, and he just softly weeps the entire time that he sculpts it. Does it for free.
Great. What a good man. Who cares?